let me tell you, man. You I, flossing 101 is done with the greatest of ease, and from the most laid back, it just comes across so powerful. Like you mentioned, like I said, hip hop royalty, Queen Latifah of the Flavor Unit, Shakim, who was a part of putting all that together, that legendary crew, Naughty by Nature, who is, I don't want to say they're underrated, but they don't get the props that they deserve, being
Those who
pioneers.
respect them. I mean, when you get put in rhymes by the likes of Eminem and Biggie, listen, they let you know that the boys have some talent. They got
See,
some
but
talent.
here go with it. Here go with a royalty coming for me.
Mm-hmm.
Flavor Unit has gone on to do greater things in
Yes.
music, movies, and all of that. Queen Latifah is a mega superstar. Naughty
Mm-hmm.
by Nature. So Naughty by Nature, if I'm not mistaken, is might be the first group that really started pushing their name, other than Run DMC, as a brand.
Right. Right.
The Naughty Store, the gear, like they really kind of pioneered a way, and they created their own lane when it came
Yes.
to that. I think
Yes.
Run DMC, they had Levi's and Adidas
They
pushing it.
did.
Naughty by Nature
Mm-hmm.
just created their own.
They
So you
their
got
own
Queen
brand and
Latifah
launched it, and still got
and,
staying power to this day, which is
and
incredible.
did well. So Queen
Yeah.
Latifah, royalty. Naughty by Nature, royalty. You mentioned Redman, royalty. You
Yeah,
mentioned
he was the first. He came. I remember he drove up in front of my car, in front of my store on my plaza in his Sterling. Back then, when Sterling's was the joint, he stepped out to Sterling. I was like, look, Red coming to the store. He was coming to see Kang. He started shooting shit. That's what I'm talking about back then, man. It was incredible. Like I said, the shop, and then the artifacts. That's
and,
it.
and,
I
then,
mean,
and then
them boys.
artifacts.
I mean,
So
you talk about one of the dopest underground artists that there was. I mean,
so
that talk about underrated. That's underrated there for sure.
so your flossing continues, but it's beautiful because it's so subtle. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's beautiful,
And
but
then
it's so
so
subtle.
I go back to the after I did the it's on video thing. Sick as the dog. Man, I got so sick out there in Brooklyn for free. Um, then they wanted me to do they was going on tour, so I wound up doing a touring backdrop tour. Huge, 20 by 40 feet. So I'm going with the concept. Like, okay, I never painted this big. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna do this. I don't know where I'm gonna do this because where can you get a space that's going to accommodate a 20 by 40-foot backdrop,
Mm.
whereas I can paint it. But actually, everything worked out beautifully. The youth center that I grew up around the corner from, had the space. The founder of the youth center, Mr. James Wallace, rest in peace. He uh, he allowed me the space to do what I need to do to get it done. So from there, we moved right across the street from the youth center. Awao is the youth center. We moved right across the street from Woodland Avenue.
So from
Woodland
10th
Avenue.
Street to Woodland Avenue.
Yes, 10th Street
Okay.
to Woodland Avenue, where that's where we that was our spot for about the next 5 to 6 years on Woodland Avenue. We had this where it goes back to the hip hop element. The grand opening was so incredible. Whereas we had, thanks to again, I gotta give this guy so much praise, Sadi Ali. Um, he has introduced. He was also a member of the Zulu Nation. So at my grand opening, not only did I have Africa Bambaataa at the grand opening, it was DJ by Cool V. You had guest appearances,
Cool V, the DJ for
Biz Markie. Yeah, so
the
the grand
flossing
opening,
continues, but it's beautiful. I
it was
love it.
crazy.
Continue.
Like so, it was a very successful day. I mean, a beautiful day. I had cool people coming around. So that, like I said,
All right,
crazy.
you've also mentioned George Clinton, a descendant of George Clinton in the what's that? The P Funkadelic,
Yes,
and you
Dr.
you
Ali.
you also and you also mentioned who else did you just mention?
Mm-hmm.
African Mbata. So
Yeah.
your lineage is something to behold. And this
Oh man,
interview
I was like to
is
this day I haven't been searched like I've been searched. Like I've never been searched. I'm gonna say this one thing, whereas we went to a Zulu Nation meeting in the Bronx, an official Zulu Nation full-fledged meeting. I was there with Bambada, CC Islam, the whole crew was it was an official meeting. So I've never been checked before going into a spot like that ever again in my life. I mean, the pat down was so serious.
listen, man. The I mean, you only hear stories like that from like legends in the game. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
that can speak about that, Grandmaster Flash and
Hmm.
and the Furious Five and like all of those groups back then,
Exactly.
which all started with really the basis of hip hop started with the DJ and then
Hmm.
graffiti. Like MCing
Yeah.
came, I think, later
Way
on.
after.
So so
Hmm.
you
I've
so you
actually
are
also
part of
I've
the
also I developed a little mini friendship through my ex-wife at the time with Cool Herc. Cool Herc has started.
yo.
Yeah, Cool Herc. Yeah, Cool Herc has started to get into the fashion industry a little bit here, and him and
uh,
his sister. And I
uh,
met him once, a couple of times, a few times, and we kicked it off. Like every time he see me, it's like, "Yo, G, what's going on?" Like it's nothing but love with Cool Herc. Good brother.
okay, so I think if we continue to talk about, you know, how legendary, your history goes back, we're gonna run out of
Hmm.
time. So
Okay.
I wanna move into the direction of now you've been recognized for your art.
Hmm.
You decide that you want to kind of dive more into, I guess, the business aspect of it, and you start creating backdrops. So take me through
Okay.
that era, how you start creating backdrops. Where were you
Hmm.
displaying these backdrops, and what was your plan and your vision to getting these using these backdrops to get on to the next level?
Okay. What happened with that was I did a series of after I did the Naughty Drop, and that job was completed. Um, I started doing a series of different backgrounds that we was using for photography. We used to go out. I don't know if anybody from back in the day remember. We used to get these photo backdrops, and I went out to by the movie theater. It's Shack Theaters now, but it was
Okay,
North 53. So
on
we used
Clay
to,
Street or
I,
something like that.
exactly right. And we used to post up backdrops on the school.
Okay,
So I just have like 10 or 15 backdrops lined up on the school. Go out there every Easter and just click away. You know what I'm saying? It's an easy way to sit there and make money. And it was also gave me the ability to hone in my talent on doing background. So once again, like I said, after we did that, I had Tadi Ali. He had called, being his affiliation with George. He reached out to Puff, Diddy, and at the time Puff was A&R. He was A&R at Uptown, and so we set up the meeting. So it's right over to New York. What I did for the meeting was I did a little miniature back. Well, not really. It was about 8 by 10 foot backdrop. And what I did, I had put Heavy D in the foreground with Eddie S alongside of him, a little smaller, and then Trouble T. Roy, who had recently passed. He was a dancer, and
rest in peace.
I had put his face a part of the cloud, like he was looking down on Eddie S and Eddie D. So as we go into the Uptown office, we get on the elevator, and who decides to get on the elevator with us but Andre Herrera. So I'm
Yo,
looking, he looks at us. Now it's me. At the time, I was easily 275, 300 pounds, bald head. My man J.
look,
Rule wearing about a buck 20 with dreads all the way down his shoulder. And Sadi had a green mohawk.
so
So he
you were
looking at us.
so you were security for the first black rap rap group.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it looked like. That's why he looked at us and he was like, and he kept looking. He finally say like, "What do you guys do?" First he said we was going to the same floor he was going to, and he said, "What do you do?" And we was like, "We artists. We had a meeting with Puff. We need to show some artwork." He said, "All right, okay."
So this is Andre Harrell
Yeah,
asking what the rap rock group does,
yeah, exactly.
and he's surprised when y'all don't say y'all make music.
Yeah, he was totally thrown back from that. He was like,
Yeah. Okay.
"Oh." So we get off the elevator, sit there. Puff come out. So we Sadi introduced us with him. So I threw up the drop. with a Heavy D and the boys on. Unknown to me, Puff and T. Roy was tight. They was like brothers because they danced together. So when he saw T. Roy face up in the cloud, like he took 2, 3 steps back and his eyes watered up. Like he teared up. I saw it. I was like, wow. I was like, I had no idea. I was like, what the hell just happened? He was like, Dig, I don't care what I got to do. I'm gonna find something for you guys to do. So we went back to the office, started shooting, talking a little bit. He actually at the time was just starting Bad Boy, and he had little flyers, and on the flyer was Justin in a diaper. So he had the little flyer with Justin holding his 2 fingers up, had the Jesus, the Jesus, not a Jesus piece. It was actually what's that? Was it Daisy with the, anyway, he had a charm on it, and he had a diaper on. So he was like, "Yo, you think you could paint this?" I'm like, "Right, sure, no problem." So what I did was I paint that, and come to find out years later through his assistant, he was like, "Oh, he got that painting hanging in his foyer." I was like, "Oh
Nice.
wow."
Nice.
And this is like got to be 10 to 15 years later that I saw her, and she was like, she let me know that's where it was. Um, so what he did was right then and there, he had me do a backdrop for Cynthia Horner because Uptown was throwing her the editor right on. So Uptown was throwing her birthday party, but somehow the birthday party never happened. And throughout, we was doing stuff here and there, like the Bad Boy Baby. I retouched the logo because that was the original logo. The fingers had got chopped off, so we wound up giving the Bad Boy Baby logo fingers. And my man J. Rue, if you ever see the Bad Boy tag, he did the Bad Boy tag. Where if you see the letters Bad Boy when it's written by itself,
Yeah.
J. Rue wound up doing that.
Wow.
So
So
we
y'all, so y'all crew was tight in y'all own right.
oh yeah, yeah. We put our pens to paper, it went down. The same similar thing happened with Guru of Gangstar. Uh,
Speak on it. Speak on it.
when he first this was crazy. This was so hood and just crazy. How did he get a call? He was like, "Yo, what's good? Yo, I need some artwork. I'm about to do this label. I gotta send my album artwork off. The name of the label is called Ill Kid Records." So he was like, "Yo, come." He was like, "All right, I got this 2 of the dopest cats with me right now." So me, Sadi, Jay, we drive out to Brooklyn, sitting there as we getting together. Boom, he tell us what we want on the back of the car. I drew the character. Jay, we did the Ill Kid record. I wish I could show you. The album cover is done. If you anybody want to go look, Google Ill Kid record, and you will see it. You'll see the album cover that we did on the back of a car in Brooklyn.
Dad.